Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef. Today I'm going to show you how to make grilled chicken penne al fresco. I'm going to be using Pampered Chef's Deluxe Grill and Griddle for the chicken, and we're going to make the pasta using our RockCrok Dutch Oven, and I'm going to tell you all about both of them. The first thing I want to do is go over the grill with you so that we can get it preheated and it'll be ready for the chicken once we have the pasta in, or the first step of the pasta in the microwave. So let's talk about the Deluxe Grill and Griddle. So what you're going to see here is the Pampered Chef's Deluxe Grill and Griddle. When you open up the lid, you have grilling plates on the top and on the bottom. These are interchangeable plates. You can change them out to flat griddle plates or waffle maker plates, and the waffle maker plates are sold separately. I love how easy these are to take in and out. If you've used a tabletop grill before, these are way easier to clean and just so smart these days. And I love that we have smart appliances from the Pampered Chef. So to put these back in, you just snap it right in. There's a button on the bottom one. This just pops right out, and then when you're ready to put it back in, you snap it in just like that. This is also what you'll do to take them out for cleaning. They are dishwasher safe, so you just pop them out once they're cooled off, rinse them off, put them in the dishwasher, and then they'll be ready to go the next time that you need them. We are going to use a pre-programmed setting. I'm going to turn this to the grill function. You may not be able to see the display on the screen, but it says 5 minutes, 400 degrees. I'm going to press the wheel to select the grill setting. I'm going to reduce the cooking time to just 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the perfect amount of time for grilled chicken tenderloins. So 3 minutes, 30 seconds, press the wheel again, and it's going to preheat the grill to 400 degrees. This takes about 5 minutes. I am going to make sure that this is in the completely closed position for preheating, but check this out. You can actually prop the lid up higher. Oops, I went a little bit too high there. You can prop the lid up higher, so if you're doing paninis, you're not going to smush them. And since this is not hot yet, I'll show you this really cool hover feature. So if you were doing a grilled pizza or wanting to melt the toppings on something, then you can actually hover the lid so that it doesn't actually touch the top of the food. So I love that. Let's lower this down though. It takes about 5 minutes for that to preheat. While we're waiting on that to preheat, I want to get everything else ready to go in our RockCrok. Now, tonight, I am going to be using a different lid with my RockCrok, and I'll tell you why. I have a microwave drawer, and my drawer, when I put the RockCrok in, it bumps the handle of this RockCrok lid, and I don't want to risk breaking the lid. So instead of using the glass lid that comes with my RockCrok Dutch Oven, I'm going to use our large, it's called Boil Over No More. It basically keeps things from boiling over, but it's a really great lid in a pinch for the RockCrok. So if you have a microwave that's not quite tall enough to accommodate the handle on this lid, you could use that instead. In my case, I have to put it in the microwave drawer. So let's go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to set the lid aside so I don't break it. And the first step of this recipe, we're going to start out with tomatoes and some sliced garlic. We're going to put those in the RockCrok and then pop them in the oven for about 4 minutes just to kind of cook those a little bit. We're going to slice our tomatoes using this close and cut. You'll see that this has 2 spring-loaded plates, one on the top and one on the bottom. We're going to take our grape cherry tomatoes here, and you're going to fill the bottom plate with your tomatoes. Now, this product right here is our Easy Read measuring colander. I love this because there are measurement markings on the inside. You can measure, rinse, and drain in the same container. So I rinse these, let them dry in the sink, and they're ready to go for this recipe. So for the first batch, I'm going to take our color-coded chef's knife. This knife comes with our close and cut set. And when you're using the close and cut, what you're going to want to make sure that you do is make sure that you're pushing in the middle of this product so that both plates are completely parallel and level with each other. If you just push on the edge here, then what's going to happen is one plate, the front of the plates will be lower, the back of the plates are going to be wider, kind of like that. And so you won't get a perfect half, and that's what we want. So you're going to press in the middle, lift up just enough to get your knife in there, continue to press in the middle, slide the knife back and forth in a sawing motion, and look, you're going to be able to cut every single tomato in half all at one time. So we're going to toss these in our RockCrok Dutch Oven. This is the 4-quart RockCrok. Let's see if I can get all of these on there. Might have to do a couple on their own, but let's see if we can squeeze them in there. Nah. All right, so we're going to put this in, lift up, saw this across, add these to the Dutch oven. And then I'm just gonna cut these last two on the cutting mat here. All right, so we're gonna put these in. By the way, the close and cut and the Easy Read measuring calendar are both dishwasher safe. And all knives that you want to stay sharp, make sure you wash them by hand. And just a little tip, don't ever put a sharp knife in the sink because that's a really easy way to get cut. I tell you these things from experience, so it's just good practice to never put a sharp blade in the sink. All right, so right now, all I have is our tomatoes in our RockCrok Dutch Oven. I'm gonna take 4 cloves of garlic and we're gonna peel them using Pampered Chef's garlic peeler. Let me dry that up a little bit. We're gonna stick these in this little silicone tube. You press down and you roll. Hopefully you're able to hear that paper skin being rubbed right off of those garlic cloves. So we're gonna do a couple more, 3 more. Oops, I crushed that one. I pushed down too hard. It's all right. These next 2 are kind of big. I'm gonna put them in together. Well, that was a good plan, but it didn't wanna do that. All right, and that one has a little bit of a bad spot, so I'm gonna peel, or I'm gonna cut that little piece off. All right, and make sure you don't have any pieces lingering around there. We're gonna toss the paper in the trash. The peeler is dishwasher safe, so I'll toss that in. Here's the piece that had a little bad place. Let's see. I don't want to use that one. So we're going to take our garlic slicer and I'm going to slice these right over the top. So you see this has got multiple pieces. We're going to kind of even this out here. You're going to put your garlic inside. I put 2 on each side of that little divider. You're going to place this piece over the top and I'll show you what's going to happen. When you twist this, can you guys see you're getting these super thin pieces of garlic? If you don't know this already, the smaller the piece of garlic, the more intense the flavor is going to be. So if you want a more intense flavor of garlic, then you would want to use the garlic press. But for this particular recipe, we want to use the slicer. The slicer is also dishwasher safe. Just take all those 3 pieces apart and make sure you get any pieces of garlic that might still be lingering inside out before you put it in the dishwasher. Okay, so for this, we're gonna cover this, but remember, we're gonna use this boil over no more. Now let me tell you another thing about this. So this is what actually, if you're using this on the stovetop, say for pasta or for potatoes, you're gonna actually, when the pot boils, you're actually going to see the water bubbling up through these little pieces here. So this is going to serve as a lid. We do sell a smaller size, but let me show you something else cool. You can take this piece off and you can flip this over, and then if you needed to put a cover over something like a splatter guard in your microwave, you could do that too. So I really love that, but I'm gonna flip it around. Let me put this in the microwave. I'm gonna set the timer on the microwave for 4 minutes. Our grill is preheated, so I timed that almost perfectly. So hang tight and we will get our chicken on the grill. So let's, before I move over to the grill, let's get our chicken ready to go. So what I have here is our classic batter bowl. I've got some olive oil and our garlic and herb rub. And this is a rub from Pampered Chef, so you'll be able to purchase this right from me. And I love this because it's already got all the seasonings you need in one bottle. So in my classic batter bowl, I have about 2 pounds of chicken tenderloins. I went ahead and trimmed those up. They're ready to go. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil, tablespoon or so. I'm not a measuring cook for most things, so if you wanna measure out a tablespoon or so. And then I'm gonna use the cap here to measure my seasoning to about a capful, and then I like to look at the color. We're gonna use our chef's tongs, which these are really cool. Let me give you a bigger view. These are gravity controlled, so when they're pointed up, they're not gonna open, but you flip them over and give it a squeeze, and if you watch right here, when I squeeze, that little pin drops, and check that out, they close. You pull them up, and if you watch the pin here, when you close them, gravity pulls it down. So they're gravity controlled. Mix this together. And your grill's gonna keep beeping to let you know, hey, I'm preheated. Why are you not putting the food on here? I think 1 capful is gonna be good for this. So I did 1 capful of Pampered Chef's garlic and herb rub. And if you don't know this already, all of our rubs and seasonings, the dry rubs and seasonings, are all gluten-free and they're also kosher. All right, so we're gonna pull this up and we're gonna lay all of these chicken tenders on the grill. You could also do this with the griddle plates, but I love the grill marks that these leave, so I like using the grill plates. I use the grill plates more than I use any others, but I also love the waffle maker plates, because you can make 2 waffles at a time, and they're a really nice size. I've got a couple little nugget size pieces here. So we're gonna stick those in. You're gonna close the grill, press the button here to start, and it starts that 3-minute, 30-second timer. Rinse my hands. I need to wipe off a little spot here. All right, so while we're waiting on the pasta, or excuse me, the tomatoes and the chicken to cook, let's get all of the other ingredients ready to go in the RockCrok. I'm looking here and realizing that I forgot to spray the inside of my RockCrok with this kitchen spritzer, just a little bit of oil. I think it's gonna be okay, but I would recommend that you spritz it a little bit before you do the tomatoes step. So we have 1 more minute left on that. When that comes out, we're going to take the boil lever lid off, or the lid if you're using the RockCrok lid in your microwave, and we're gonna add in some broth, some pasta, and some wine, and some salt and pepper. We're gonna put it back in the microwave, and then we're gonna get our cheese and our basil ready, and we're gonna finish getting the chicken prepared for all of this to go in a nice big bowl. It's beautiful in our large serving bowl. So I'll go ahead and show you this. This is our large Stomer serving bowl. I'm gonna use our scoop and serve to just kind of scoop everything out of the RockCrok. So let me grab our pasta, or I keep saying pasta, but we don't have the pasta in there. So our tomatoes are almost done. I'm gonna grab those, bring them over here. So let me get a trivet. So I'll be ready for that. Okay, I took it out about 10 seconds early, which is fine. And I'm using these silicone oven mitts. I love using these whether it's taking something out of the oven or taking something out of the microwave. These are really cool because they're cloth on the inside, so they're nice and comfortable when you put them on. And you're gonna see, let me pull up my sleeve, they go pretty close to your elbow. So if you are using these, or maybe your husband or a man in your life is using these, they're also gonna be great for larger hands as well. So I love the silicone oven mitts. So let's check out our RockCrok. So you can see that this has kind of got a little bit of steam, and if I pull this up, you'll see that coming out there. This is really easy to remove. You can take this off and check out what we've got inside. Now, I will tell you a little trick. If you don't slice those tomatoes, then they're going to pop on you. Like when you do the next step, those tomatoes, all that heat gets kind of stuck inside of the tomato, and I really recommend that you slice them first. They might not look quite as pretty, but it's easier on you because you don't want one of those tomatoes when you're cutting it in half after you cook it to kind of pop and splatter on you. So right now, all we have in here was our sliced garlic and our tomatoes. What we're gonna add to this is we're gonna add some pasta, and I'm using 3 cups of penne pasta. So I went ahead and took the box, measured out 3 cups. It's not quite a pound of pasta, so just measure that out. I'm using our Easy Read measuring cup for that. We're gonna also add some chicken broth and some wine. So let me go ahead and grab that. I've got 3 cups of chicken broth and a half a cup of Chardonnay. So let me grab, here we go. All right, I don't know if you guys heard it, but my grill is done. So I'm gonna pop that up and I'll show you that in just a second. So we've got the tomatoes, the garlic, the pasta, 3 cups of broth. We're gonna do a half a cup of Chardonnay. Pop that in there. Then we're gonna add some salt and pepper. And I like to use Pampered Chef's grinder set. I love the salt and pepper grinder, and this has got our peppercorn medley, which is a blend of 5 different peppercorns, and our pink Himalayan sea salt. And I love how easy these grinders are to fill. So check this out. You just take the cap off and you just pour right in. I actually just filled the pepper, so it's nearly overflowing, so I didn't want to open that one. Add a little bit more salt, and then give this a little stir. And then what I'm going to do now, let's see, cover this back. So I'm going to grab my boil over no more, or you can use your glass lid. Let me pop this back in the oven for about 10 minutes. So hang tight. So let's take a look at this chicken, you guys. All right, so here we have our grilled chicken tenderloins. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a clean set of tongs to take them off of the grill and just transfer them to a cookie sheet to let them cool off just a little bit. Again, I'm gonna be using the, oops, let me hold it in the camera view, our chef's tongs. This is a clean pair. Point them down, they open, point them up, and they close. So we're gonna transfer these off of the grill. So all I did with this is took 2 pounds of grilled chicken tenderloins. I added a little bit of olive oil, a capful of Pampered Chef's garlic and herb rub, and I'm gonna let this cool just a little bit before I slice this up, and then it will go in with our chicken, or excuse me, with our pasta. So look at this beautiful grilled chicken tenderloins cooked in 3.5 minutes on the Deluxe Grill and Griddle. I'm gonna turn that grill off so that these cooking plates can cool off a little bit. And in the meantime, we're gonna get some of the other ingredients that we're gonna be using ready to go. So the next thing I wanna show you guys is our coating tray and our adjustable cheese grater, so our double-sided cheese grater. So I've got some Parmesan cheese here. And this is a coating tray. I love these. They come as a set of 3. They have little no-skid grippers on the bottom. They keep them from slipping and sliding around on the countertop. They come 3 to a set. I have 2 of them right here. So you can see how they stack, kind of overlap right here. The reason we designed them that way is so if you're dredging chicken, so like you're doing, you know, flour, egg, and say breadcrumbs or something, you are not dripping in between the plates. So if you are using bowls, even if you put them really close together, when you transfer from one to the other, you probably are gonna have some dripping. And so I love that these just kind of sit just like that so that you're not making a mess. I like to use the coating trays with our double-sided grater because it collects everything right in here. It does come with a smaller container, and it also comes with a food holder that you can slide up and down. But with the Parmesan cheese, I find that it's easier to just use it by holding it in my hand. Now, if I get down to the small end and I don't want to cut myself, then I put it in the little food holder. But let me show you how to take this grater apart. So it does store flat like this. And actually, let me grab those other 2 pieces so that you can see them. Excuse me. So if you wanted to, you could shred from this grater right into this container here. I prefer to use the coating tray, but it's total personal preference, however way you want to use that. And then you can use, when I'm using the coarse side, I definitely put my softer cheese in a cube in here. And you can put your cheese block right in here and take the food pusher, put it on there, and then you're pushing the cheese closer and closer to the blade every time you slide up and down. But let me show you how to take this apart, because this is something that I know a few people that I've talked to that have purchased this are like, okay, how did you take it apart? This is a dishwasher safe product, and to take it apart, you're gonna put it completely closed, hold it like this, so hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing there, and then you're just going to press away, okay? So what you're gonna find is there's a little groove right, or a piece that's gonna fit in the groove on this side. So see if I can hold this where you guys can see. And then when you're ready to put it back together, you just line up those grooves, whoops, line up the grooves and snap it back together. So that is our double-sided adjustable grater here. I love this, so I'm gonna show you again. To take it apart, you just hook your hands in like this, and you're going to pull away. I can't pull backwards, sorry. I was trying to give you a better view on the camera. And then when you're ready to put it back together, you just line up those notches with the grooves, and it goes right back together. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna set aside these 2 pieces because I'm not gonna use them, and we're gonna take our Parmesan cheese. You can certainly do this on the coarse side if you want, but for this pasta recipe, I like to use our fine grate. You could also use our zester, which is, it's about half the width of this, so you do have some options with which way you want to shred your cheese. All right, so I'm going to shred a lot of this. If you guys know me at all, if you've watched any of my other videos or if you've been to any of my cooking shows over the years, then you know cheese is one of my favorite ingredients. And my rule of thumb is if a little is good, a lot has to be better, right? So you don't ever measure cheese and you don't ever throw any cheese away unless it's moldy, right? So I'm actually going to go almost down to the rind here and shred a lot of this cheese because I like a lot in my pasta. And let me peek and see how much time we have left. All right, we have just 4 minutes left on our pasta. So in the microwave, we left the tomatoes and the garlic that we started with. We added pasta, broth, a little bit of Chardonnay, and if you don't want to use the wine, you can always add a little bit more of the chicken broth. Added salt and pepper, and then we're going to put all this together in our large stoneware bowl. All right, whoops, I didn't need to pick it up like tongs, but check that out. So we've got all this beautiful, delicious Parmesan cheese. And now, again, to put this in the oven or the dishwasher, you're gonna pull away just like that, rinse these off, and put them right in the dishwasher for easy cleanup. All right, speaking of cleanup, let me clean up my mess here, and we'll get this all finished up. Let's go ahead and chop or slice up our chicken. And so I'm gonna do that on this cutting mat. So I like to use our flexible cutting mats. You probably see me use these quite a bit in my videos. I love the flexible cutting mats, but if you put hot food on them, it can cause them to kind of flex a little bit and warp. And if you wanted to get them flat again, you might have to put something heavy on. So I don't want you guys to have to do that. So I recommend our harder cutting boards. This one's just called the cutting board. It's about a 13 by 9 size. And we're gonna shred or slice our chicken into bite-sized pieces. So I'm gonna transfer this over to my cutting board. I took it off the grill to give it a chance to cool off a little bit. And I'm gonna use the same coating knife. So these are already in nice bite-sized pieces, so I can just leave that. And use the same coating knife that I used on the tomatoes. Cut these into chunks. Super easy. I don't really want these shredded, so that's why I'm not using the salad choppers. I usually shred my chicken, but for this particular recipe, I want them to be more like bite-sized pieces. Right, so our pasta is almost finished, and then we're going to add some fresh basil. Basil is amazing. I actually bought the basil we're going to use today at a local farmer's market. I wish they were there every day, but they're only there once a week, and it's so cheap when you get things like that at a farmer's market versus the grocery store. All right, so let me rinse this off, wash my hands, and get this out of the way. And we're down to 1 minute and 50 seconds. So we're almost done on the other. Okay, so set this aside, and then let's get our basil chopped up. So I've got the basil in another one of our coating trays, and for this we're gonna use the herb mill. So if you've never seen Pampered Chef's herb mill before, you're gonna get to see it tonight. Let me grab some scissors to cut these stems off. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna use a set of scissors that we don't sell anymore. The other ones are out of reach. Oops. So I'm just gonna cut these stems off and keep just the leaves, and we're gonna grind them up with our herb mill. And I love a lot of basil. If I could keep it alive, I would just grow it, but if you know me, I can't. I've tried. So I gave up on that, so I just buy it at the grocery store when I need it. So, all right, we've got our basil leaves here, and, whoops, excuse me, we're gonna pop these two pieces apart. There is a weighted ball in here, and this ball is used to weigh down the herbs and push it into the mill. So when I'm turning this, this is gonna push the fresh herbs in there. And so these pieces come apart, dishwasher safe also. And so you want the ball in the bottom, which is what the top is, okay? So you're gonna have the ball in there, and then you're gonna put the basil on the top. I'm really bad about putting too much in here at one time. So let's do this in a couple of batches. Let's see if that'll work. All right, and what I like to do is just shred it into the Parmesan cheese. And see, I'm just sort of like moving that little ball around, and I've got a stubborn leaf there. There we go. So you get to make a lot of noise. Shake this up a little bit. Let's put the rest in here, and then we'll get our pasta out, and we'll wrap this up. I hope that you guys will make this. I will put this recipe in my recipe community. You can find it at theflipflopchef.com. Be sure to join the group while you're there. And then every Friday, look for the Flip Flop Friday post so that you can enter to win my weekly giveaway. All right, I'm just gonna use my fingers to kind of mix this together, and makes it so much easier to spread the basil and spread the Parmesan when it's all mixed together. All right, so let's put this together. So let me grab, I'm gonna close my grill now. Let me grab my RockCrok. Let's see here. All right, set this down for a second. Let me close my microwave. All right. So, take our boil over no more off, and check this out. Beautiful cooked pasta, and you do have some liquid in there, and that is okay. And let me check. I think this might need like 2 more minutes. So let's pop this back in. Hang tight with me, guys. So while we wait on that, I just want to cook that pasta just a little bit more. I'm actually going to tell you a little bit more about our Deluxe Grill and Griddle. So let me grab a couple things out of the drawer here. Okay. So with your grill and griddle, you're going to get this scraper. So this is actually a good example of when you might need to use this. So you can see that I have a little bit of food stuck into, not really stuck, but sitting in these grooves. And so let me push the other way so that you can see on camera. It's a really great way for you to kind of scrape the residue off of your grill. You can rinse this off before you put it in the dishwasher, and the same thing for the top. You can scrape the top down. Now, this comes with your grill. You don't pay extra for that. It's part of the grill. You're also going to get this probe. The cool thing about this is you'll be able to turn your grill on. You can set the temperature or choose the pre-programmed setting that you want. And then if you want to use the probe, you can actually control the temperature, the internal temperature of your food. So the probe plugs in right here, and we have a probe button, and I've got to turn this so I can actually see it. But when you press the probe button, you can actually adjust the temperature of the probe. So let's say we wanted to cook something like a steak, and you like medium or medium rare. You're going to want to go lower. So we'll set that, let's see, so 140, and you can go even lower, but I think 145 is probably good. And our grill is already hot, so all I would have to do is press the add button, put the food on there, and then this probe, which right now it says it's 72 degrees. So if I hold this, I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to tell this on there, but I can kind of warm this up. I'll actually stick it in a piece of this chicken, and it will increase. So like we're up to 79 degrees, 81 degrees. So when we get to the temperature that we set the probe, it's going to stop cooking. And so the probe is such a cool feature. So you set the grill plate temperature, and then you set the internal temperature for the probe, and then it stops cooking so that you don't overcook your food. This is great for burgers, it's great for steak. You can also use it for chicken too. I do the grilled chicken tenderloins many times a week, and I just do 3.5 minutes on the grill setting. I don't even use the probe, especially when I'm just using the chicken tenders. But I absolutely love the grill. The settings on the grill, you have, you can set the time, the temperature. You can also adjust the top and the bottom plate temperatures. So remember earlier when I was mentioning that you could do like a grilled pizza? You grill your pizza first, having the plates at the same temperature. And then you would press cancel, and then you could use the grill setting again or whatever setting you're using, and you can set the top and bottom temperature different. So you would set the bottom temperature really low, like maybe 250, 275, to keep the crust warm, and then you would increase the temperature on the top plate to say 450, and then you can hover this lid, and if you're doing this when it's hot, if you're gonna go from a closed to a hover position, you may need to use a towel while you're doing this because you don't want to burn yourself, because the plates are actually really hot. So you can hover to melt the toppings on top of your pizza. And you can set the time for however long you need to do that. And the bottom plate will stay at the low temperature, and the top plate will stay at the top, or the highest temperature. And I love it because you can peek, you can open this and peek in anytime that you need to check on it. All right, so let me grab our pasta, and let's get this finished up. Much better. So we have less liquid, and our pasta looks a little bit more al dente. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let me show you what this looks like. Can you guys see? So we have perfect cooked pasta. I'm gonna mix everything in here, and then we're gonna transfer it over to a prettier bowl. So we're gonna take our chicken, and I'm just gonna add it into the RockCrok. And if your chicken had a little bit of time to cool off, don't worry. This pasta is nice and hot, and it will warm it right back up. And this sauce will thicken a little bit as this sits. We're gonna put most of the cheese in here. I'm gonna save a little bit of the cheese and basil mixture for to top this off once we have it in that pretty bowl. We're just gonna mix this together. And if you wanted to add some mozzarella, then you could do that. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave this in this bowl. I was gonna transfer it, but I think that it'll just keep it hotter if I leave it right in this pot, and because the RockCrok is nice and hot. So rather than go for the pretty presentation, whoops, let's sprinkle the cheese on the top. I'm gonna just leave it in here because this RockCrok is gonna retain heat for a really extended period of time. And if you wanted to transfer this to the RockCrok slow cooker stand, you can do that and put it on warm, and it will keep it warmer even longer. Now, if you wanted, let me show you what this looks like. So let me give you a little peek here. This is what it looks like if you want to melt that cheese on the top. Just grab your glass lid. You could use the boil over, but this will work a little bit faster. You can already see the steam is kind of building up in here. And so I'm going to set this aside and let that kind of just sit for a little bit, because I'm actually not ready to serve this yet. And so I'll just let it sit. It'll keep it warm until my family gets home from karate tonight, and it'll be nice and hot for them when they get here. If you want to serve it in a prettier dish, then you could use the large stoneware serving bowl or whatever bowl that you have. But I wanted to show you guys both options tonight. And I hope that you learned something that you didn't know before today. Hope you're excited about this recipe. Please leave me comments. Let me know if you have any questions. And don't forget, if you see anything that you like tonight, I would love the opportunity to be your consultant. As a consultant with the Pampered Chef, we do earn commission. And be sure to join my recipe community. You can find it at theflipflopchef.com. And I'll see you next time. Have a great evening.